You see police at work as you live your Charlotte life and are surely among the many that personally are grateful the CMPD is among us.
I'm just going to call for another car just to wait with you to make sure you don't need anything, and then
You're going to leave them?
I'm not going to leave you. I'm going to be right down the road. I'll have somebody here in a minute.
10-4, I'm pulling up 23.
Like running water and functioning traffic lights, police are among our city services we tend to count on with little thought about how they work. We leave details to the professionals. Still, you might appreciate a shared detail or two from our men and women in blue, such as the University City Division, where we're stopping today, is home for around 100,000 of us. For perspective, that one Charlotte Police Division has a larger population than the city of Asheville, and it's early yet.
One thing, we're going to have the new light rail system. We'll be coming straight through here. We're on North Tryon Street now, so it's going to run straight up here. One of the expansions we have in place for that is going to be a parking deck back that way behind us. 4 years ago, I mean, everything you see out here was nothing but fields, grass, and trees. We started out with IKEA, then we got the Walmart, and now all the surrounding businesses that you see. That presents some challenges for us as police because fields and trees don't report any crime. And now what we have is a number of stores that have their own issues, like shoplifting, car break-ins in the parking lot, that kind of thing.
Lieutenant, now that you've got, increasingly you've got people, you got businesses instead of just raccoons and squirrels out here, how do you interact with the new population here to help them understand what you need to do to get the job done?
One thing we found, it was very important to make contact with the new business owners early. I mean, in most cases, for IKEA and Walmart definitely, I had made contact with the owners before the buildings were ever even built. That allowed us to go over their plans, find out what their details were, how they were going to come into play, and just basically build a rapport from the beginning before the business was even established.
Each of CMPD's 13 divisions is further organized by response areas, which also tend to differ from one to the other.
In my response area, which is Response Area 2 of the University City Division, we have the highest concentration of apartment complexes in the entire city. At last count, we stood at approximately 54 or 55 apartment complexes. So we have a very high density of population in my area, and that brings along with it a number of challenges. Our full-time population in this response area is about 30,000 residents. When you add the university population in with that, student, staff, and faculty, it doubles. So with that kind of density, added to the fact that we're constantly growing, we've got new building, new apartment complexes going in on an almost weekly basis, and we've got the light rail slated to come in. It's going to run right through the middle of my response area. So with that, we're going to see even more development. So those challenges that come along with that are increased traffic, increased opportunities for crime.
We're entering the Highland Creek community right here, which is one of the most northern communities in my response area. It's comprised of about 5,000 homes. This community also extends into Cabarrus County. It's also one of the most active for Crime Watch. The community has a good infrastructure, notification system of crimes, constant communication with community leaders here. The division has 15 schools total. 9 of those are in this response area. The challenges it faces is, of course, we have school resource officers at each school. With those schools come theft, fights, truancy issues that we have to deal with in the community. But with around each school, we work with the communities around each school and the school resource officer and school officials to reduce those larcenies, to watch out for truant children and make it a safe environment. Dorada areas used to be the old North Charlotte area. Now the development, now you have residents who've lived here 40 and 50 years. You have new communities that are just 6 months to a year old. You've got a lot of established businesses through this corridor, and with those number of businesses come the challenges of the number of targets for break-ins, larcenies, shoplifting, and even robberies. It's a main thoroughfare through here. There's a lot of traffic. It's basically once was North Charlotte country is now urban, part of the urban Charlotte area.
One thing we're learning with CMPD is that the city is changing so fast, it's so dynamic that the policing needs keep changing. Some things are basic. You want good people, well trained, but each division is different. Each neighborhood within the divisions is different. There's so much to learn, so much to do.
You know, one of the things that makes us who we are is that we bring service right down to your doorstep. And I think having 13 divisions that are out in the community, it makes the communication much better with the community. If we were all centralized downtown like we used to be back in the 90s, I think that it would be harder because everybody has to come down there to us and there's nowhere for us to be in the community.
Captain, maybe the community doesn't always appreciate that to be successful in policing, you've got to have good people working by you, with you all the time. But the community itself, the citizens out there, are crucial to a successful community, aren't they?
Yeah. I would dare say 75% of the people we catch doing something, it came from a call. It came from one person seeing something that didn't look right or seeing something happening and calling the police, and we were able to get there in the right time and make sure that arrest was made. I think the officers that we have are the best officers in the city. I think the community leaders that we work with, there's none that compare. They come out, they help us out, they're out front, you know, fighting battles with us. Any issue that we have, they're here for us. So, I mean, we really feel connected